cool. All right. So there's this arcade called the Hyper Neo Geo 64. I know, really weird name. Anytime I hear 64 at the end of something, I immediately think of Nintendo. But yes, the Hyper Neo Geo 64 was actually an exclusive proprietary hardware system developed by SNK, of all things. It came at a very bad time. Long story short, it was super expensive. There wasn't that much support for it outside of SNK, so it went away. It was a pretty cool thing. It also wasn't what the market wanted at the time. Like, this unit was ahead of its time. But this has been the holy grail for me for a while. There is a Hyper Neo Geo 64 arcade in Tokyo. Hyper Neo Geo 64の本体が京都あります。東京は確かに2つ載ってる。でもそれ以外は、なんか不思議な存在です。ほとんど見つからない。Yeah, so outside of like Tokyo, the two machines, you can't find this thing. It is very rare. もう本当に私が一番やりたいの、一番やりたいけど、めちゃくちゃやりたい。もし、そういうソフト載ってる、すぐに要求します。なんでこういう話する DBK いつもスピードランするでドラマあんまりしない。なんでドラマっていう、なんでこれが問題。まあ、そうですね。まあ普通はこういう情報問題ない。けど、ちょっとやばいことがありまして。So, まずはこういう説明します。So, there's only 7 games for the system. So, that's not a problem on its own. I know. Usually I'm talking about speedrun stuff. But these are the 7 games that are released for it. The information here is pretty correct as far as I know. I don't think it's missing anything. ここは正しいと思います。ここには失敗ないと思う。もしなんかゲームが載ってない、ぜひ聞いてみる。Message chat で使ってみる。So, the issue, however, is that most of this emulation is broken. So, because it's so high on my list, I've publicly said to people, "Hey, if you get this emulation working, I'll give you some money." 日本の方は多分そのファイティング格ゲーのコミュニティの中で私のもうずっと言ってる友はいっぱいいるだから本当にこういうゲームソフトはやっと完璧にプレイできるは1万円ちょっと多分もっとも上げるつもりって話です。それは本当の話です。So my bounty, I'll extend this to everyone because I've done it in the fighting communities, is I will give $100 to anyone who can get the emulation working for this game. Because the game right now, the Hyper Neo Geo 64 emulation pretty much doesn't work. It kind of works, but only for a few games and not really. So the only games that it works for have already been added by myself, and then one run was done by Felipe-san. So I'm going to talk about the games that do work, and then I'm going to go to the issue at hand, the drama at hand. And I'm trying to explain everything in detail, because if I miss something, then we were like, well, you did this, or you have a game here that uses this. So the first one I'm going to talk about here is Fatal Fury Wild Ambition. So Fatal Fury Wild Ambition is, yes, it is a Hyper Neo Geo 64 game, but actually the game, and it's actually this, by the way, the reason it's good to talk about this game is Albertson and myself have pushed the times way down. Albertson actually found the strategy that made this game a lot better. So a lot of more time in the past month has been put into routing this game on the PlayStation. There is one run, and that was added because Felipe-san did just an any percent run. But even then, Felipe-san said, hey, sadly the game isn't properly emulated yet. He asked me, he was like, hey, can I upload this? Like, is it okay if you add the arcade? I just want to show, like, what it's about. And I thought there's no issue with that because I haven't found any speedruns online for this. And, I could even put a note there that says, hey, if you don't like this, you can take it down. I thought it was fine. And I'll show the video here. Like, it aimed it worse for the most part, but there is some speed issues on the menu, and then there's graphical issues in the game itself. But and the sound is messed up. But for the most part, the game is somewhat running to the correct speed. There's just some minor issues. The speed is actually what we were discussing. It looks to be correct in this case, but this was an 80%. It's like a nothing thing, not a big deal. And again, this one already has this. If you want to play this game, you can, and you can play. It has extra characters in the PlayStation version, so not on the top of my priority list. And so I just want to make that clear. So then there was one other game that was added, and that was actually by myself. Buruki 1 is the game, and Buruki 1 is actually running at the proper speed for the emulation. There are some minor odd graphical things, and again, I did an 80% run, and I said, for historical purposes, uploading this until we are able to play an arcade version, please read the notes or contact me if you have a question about this run. Like, it's literally both me and Felipe San are just like, yeah, we just want to show what this is because the board's there. But there's a reason why I did this one. So you can see the game speed in this one is perfect. I confirmed this because this one I have actually played at the arcade. So the game speed is perfect. The only issue is the graphics. So for some reason in this one, there's some stages where the graphics get messed up. But other than that, the controls work perfectly. The moves work perfectly. It's near perfect. I don't know why this game doesn't have that issue. まあ、先のゲームはプレイステーション版とハイパーニアジョ版なので、フリピさんがただこういう2%のアーケードをただ見したいだけ、で、私も同じに見せたいだけも歴史的にアップロードするで、もし問題もちろん消すことをします。とりあえず。で、なんでこのゲームはスピードは普通わからないけど、私もアーケード版本当にやりました。で、もう問題ないです。グラフィックス以外は問題ない。たまに、スイッチに全てのステージね、この後は、そんなに悪くないけど、たまに画面が変わるときはおかしくなります。まあ、おかしいが見えるけど、そういうゲームある。でも、実際は、東京で、イデアさんともう一人の方は、このゲーム走ってますですね。ほとんど一緒の作戦ですね。まあ、大体、レイアウトを目指して、いろいろことができる。なんかこれは、もう、両方見たら、ゲームの速さがほとんど一緒。で、こっちがドラマじゃない。これは今日誰も問題ないっていう。もう一人のゲームが確かに問題がある。その二つのゲーム以外は、やっぱり、なんとか、ゲームの速さ、ゲームのスピード、ゲームの威力が全部が普通みたいけど、まあたまにグラフィックの問題がある。ゲームのメニューも、両方のゲームのキャラクターセレクトメニューがおかしいみたい。ちなみに、全キャラクター倒したはすごいよ。私は全キャラクターを倒すことできない。まあ、本当にすごいです。ぜひ、こういう動画を見てください。ゲーセンで RTA の時はずっと参加した方が今まではできなかった。So, yeah, just compare the two videos, totally fine. This isn't the drama. I just wanted to show the two games first that are their speed is working normal, the input's working normal, and things like that. So here's where the issue comes in. And I'm making this video just for future references. So I'm going to put this on the boards because I want people to understand that, one, if you're interested, then either go to do the search and try and get to a real arcade, or try and get the emulation working on your own. There's money in it. So the Rookie one, totally fine. So here's the issue. So there's this board in question, which is Beast Busters Second Nightmare. Now, Beast Busters on its own is a very rare arcade game, but Beast Busters Second Nightmare is an extremely rare arcade game. If you have this arcade game, you need to come tell me, because this is something that I have never, ever seen in the wild. I've never seen anybody talk about it. Just finding things about this game is hard. However, this game, you'll see the current category is submitted as glitched. This is not true. This game is not glitched. There's no glitched or glitches fun. This game is broken. The emulation is straight up broken, you're going to see here. So not only is the game speed goofy, and I'll play from the beginning, and yeah, and this is where, the reason I'm bringing this on first is that it was not just me who has an issue with this. There was two other runners who mentioned this to me and said, "Hey, do you know about this? Blah blah blah." Like, because it's not just me who wants to find these games. There's other like maniacs out there who want to find this as well. So 私だけじゃなくて、他の方もこれがおかしいよ。このゲームはプレイがほとんどできない。そう、今の問題はこっちがグリッチじゃない、バグじゃない、もう完全に変われてます。だから私は登録してないんですね。もちろんハイパーニオジオ64はいっぱいのリサーチしまして、もう調べてます。まだ調べていますけど、これがもうできない。グラフィック一周、反応がない、おかしい。もう今はもう本当に子供みたいに壊れたものを遊んでる。私、クリアして言うは、もう現在そういうことするはおかしいと思います。だから、一回伝えたいのは、これがダメです。本当にダメです。こういうことしたら、まあもちろん、多分、その speedrun.com の人たちが知らないんですけど、これが本当にいかんと思います。で、他の方も私に文句言ったけど、私のリードボーイじゃないんですよね。私の、このことはしない。ほとんど私は本番の筐体が本番の本体を使うつもりです。できないなら、まあ、あくまでエミュレーションか何が使う。けど今回はなんで私もこういうゲームしてないと、次のもう一つのゲームは後で話します。もうできない。普通のプレイができない。少しグラフィックイシュー問題があれば、まあまあいいと思う。しょうがない。だから、もう音も出ないし、その、矢印も急に消える。まあ、普通のセンサーとなどなどは、もう全く変わりました。本当に完全に。It's really 100% broken. So I just want to say that this is bad. It shouldn't have been accepted. I understand it's not speedrun.com's goal. They can't be an expert every game. It's up to us to kind of police ourselves in the FGC, shooting, blah, blah, all the arcade, especially arcade games. So I just want to say, I don't approve of this. There's other people who don't, and I wanted to point that out. And again, if you do get this working, or you go to a real arcade, you're welcome to submit. And yeah, if you get emulation working, there's money. I mean, talk about it's a real bounty. So I think that there's harm in doing that. And I spoke to Boss Cat-chan, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to, I will eventually remove it." However, she didn't, and so I messaged about this issue. And I'm going to put the bounty on this board as well. That's my plan because it's made now. And so today, unfortunately, when I was looking, and this one is my fault. So there was a game made for Samurai Spirits 2. I'm not going to show the whole video, by the way. Just now, there's no point in watching it. And so this was Samurai Spirits 2, Asura Zanmaden, or Samurai Shodown 64, Warrior's Rage, which is there's actually two of this game. There's the first one, and then this was the follow up to it. And both they're both not like super received well, but there's funny things you can do in the game. Anyway, the issue with this one is this also has very broken emulation, and I mentioned this a long time ago. I mentioned this several times on Top Us, but maybe this wasn't delivered. But the thing is, there's no way you couldn't know this by not playing the game. So this was submitted, and then all I did is I came in and just added to the series. But it was my fault because I overlooked it and didn't notice it. And when I was checking today, I was like, oh, yeah, so how did this get submitted? Was this running the real thing? And then I went through it, and I'm going to deny these now. But I realized, oh, this is like this is just as broken as when I tried it. It just doesn't work. This is one, unfortunately, I haven't played. まあ、その時は気づいてないけど、まあ、私がそのリードボードをお願いした方は、本当に、まあ、私の責任は、取ってます。本当に、何のゲームが、まあ、サムスピー大好きだから、サムスピーのゲームだから、つけますよ、追加されてましたよって。でも、その時は、ボスケットのリードボードだから、その時は他のゲーム集中しましたので、はっきり確認したかった。私は、もう後でモードがついたので、でも今確認すると、まだ壊れてるんですよね。ゲームのキャラクターの速さ、ゲームの速さもおかしい。グラフィック問題あると、なんか、本当にこういう状態で、RTA はできないと思います。だからこれもちょっと、良くないですよね。正直に言っては、こういうことは嫌いです。多分私だけど、ずっと格ゲーやってるだから、格ゲー RTA も大好きけど、こういうことすると、やっぱり、なんか、ちょっと気まずいと思います。私も気づいてなくて、本当に申し訳ませんですよ。So I didn't notice, but yeah, the game speed, many things in the game are just odd and busted. But the main thing is that just you can't run this game normally. And so, I wanted to just point that out, and I'm going to deny that, and I'm going to go in, and I'm going to make sure that the bounty is also posted here. And so the point of this is to let people know about basically if you get any of these games working on emulation completely, there's a nice bounty in it for you, and it's $100 US. You can message me on Discord or through speedrun.com or whatever. I don't expect it. There's no way it's going to be done overnight, but I just want to put that information out there. And I also want to put that information out there that none of these, outside of the two that I was able to get somewhat running at speed, or Felipe-san was able, we went through and we talked about a long time. These boards should not be accepted beyond speedrun.com because they just don't work unless they have another version of the game. I haven't looked into Extreme Rally or Road's Edge. If there's different versions of the game and it's on a different console that you can play, I don't see an issue or it's emulated well. But as far as this, even though it's only a few games, it shouldn't be allowed. And that's kind of my stance on that and the drama. And I think this just comes from I'm just a little disappointed. That's all I can say. And, I think that I'm disappointed that this was let through. But I'm also I also messed up because I added to the series and I didn't check it. And I was added to as a super mod and didn't check it myself. But I want to admit the mistake and failure on my end, and I'm going to make sure that the runs get removed right now. And and post the bounty. So yeah, I just wanted to say that and put that information out there. Like to some, this is like not a big deal, but this is part of like a bigger issue overall. まあ多分まあ普通の人見たら、まあ、これは大きな問題じゃないけど、まあ、やっぱり格ゲーのコミュニティの中で、または RTA のこの問題が一つの分だけじゃなくて、やっぱりこの方のいっぱいのリーダーボードの問題が作れてしまったので、私今やり直して、で、もちろん、ちゃんとの情報を伝えたい。こういうゲーム、このリストの中で、ほとんどゲームができないよ。本当に日本の方も、こういうエミュレーションが使うことができるように、ちゃんと、なんか、バウンティーにあげたい1万かなんか、すごいねって思います。今はね、筐体じゃなくて、その PCB は、すごく珍しいだから、まあ、もし本当にこのゲームがまた発売されたら、SNK ならもうそっちの方をサポートするけど、今はプレイことができない。とりあえずプレイことができない。ほとんど。こっちのゲームは本当にすごいでした。リストバスです。最初の版もこのポストはすごいだから。このゲームもすごく楽しいです。アーケードで。まあまあ、そういうハプニングがあるので、伝えたかどうかはわからないけど、来てくれたらありがとうございます。That's all I really want to say. So thank you for listening. Yeah, just it sounds random, but it's like this is kind of a big deal because like there's just certain things that shouldn't be allowed. And this is like one issue of many with things, but I wanted to put this out there and make this video not just for people who stumble on this page, but also um, are like curious about like the Hyper Neo Geo 64 or whatever. If you want to make your own video or whatever on YouTube or whatever, feel free to like clip this and like talk about what I'm talking about here. If you're like an arcade fan, the point here is just to get the information out there and correct the things on the board. So I'm gonna deny the runs right now, and I'm just gonna like just put on the board like yeah you have to like put the bounty on the board in this video. So that's all I had to say. I'm gonna go do some other speedrun stuff now, but yeah, if you have a question or whatever, just message in the comments or reach out to me on Discord because I love that, especially if any information about the Hyper Neo Geo 64, is more than welcome. And yeah, maybe that like solves an issue, but I felt it was important to do this one publicly because it wasn't just myself who noticed this and brought attention to it. So 私だけ気づいてなかっただからこういう配信ながら説明するは必要と思った。まあやっぱりそんなに大きなドラマじゃないけど今のところはねまあまあはい以上です。これからアーティアは続きます。